Maybe you're not.
We scooped up a fifth.
That's why I don't use clear cups when I do Facebook Live.
Well, that's there is something to that, you know.
Yeah, these Contigos.
Coffee.
How did we get a fifth person here? I looked up and this broadcast got going, and I was like, wait, we got 5 faces on here tonight.
Yeah, the FNG better introduce himself.
Just the resident troll from Idaho.
The funny new guy.
They needed a backwards redneck to get on here and tell them.
Guys, I have bad news.
What's that?
POTUS just went live.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to say that.
Oops.
Yeah, nice going.
Well,
it won't hurt us too bad on the rebroadcast anyway.
Nah.
Yeah, let's all get some watch parties started here, folks. There's Joshua in Franklin, Ohio is here. So Ohio's
Hey, Josh, my buddy.
Big Josh. So we've got this
cool
debate.
Watching that.
Yeah, we got this debate last night, huh? That was pretty telling. They didn't talk a lot about guns, though. I think they're at the point where they just kind of, it's everybody's expected. Yeah, we want to take your guns away.
Honest to God, if you're a Democrat trying to win the blue wall states of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Michigan, I mean, I know the nuts are ruling the nut house over there now, but you got to deal with some kind of reality.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and it's like, what kind of depends. It's like, does the DNC want old Mike Bloomberg or not? It's like, you can hardly talk about guns and say, what are you going to do on guns? You turn to Mike Bloomberg and you go, hey, Mike, what are you going to do on guns? And he'd sit there and go, look at my billions. I got my billions. I've been doing this for 25 years attacking gun rights.
Right.
He's got his billions, huh? But even, we're talking guns here, but even Bloomberg was like, yeah, we need it. I mean, he spent like 2 or 3 minutes on closing coal-fired power plants. I'm like, how would that help him win Pennsylvania or Ohio or?
Yeah, we sit here in these states. We're like, go pound sand, you New York prick.
Yeah, and then of course you've got Crazy Bernie on there who's going to be all in. For freaking sending us back to the Stone Ages.
Right.
And anyways, I think the 2A issue is just so far over these guys' heads, they're like, yeah, we want to take everybody's guns away. That's just what it is.
Yep.
So,
hey, welcome everybody in here tonight. We're going to be talking about some of the Democrat debate from last night. We're going to be talking about Bloomberg's big push for gun control. We're going to talk about a lot of the bruising, brutal, fabulous gun battles. I mean, political gun battles that were all. Well, maybe Ben might have some different news up there in Minnesota. It is a brawl, a wonderful, fantastic brawl up in Minnesota. But we'll be talking about state level politics, national politics, all that tonight.
We were born.
We're asking you guys, please just start watch parties on your own personal Facebook pages. The Second Amendment needs it. We need your help. That's the biggest thing you can do right now is start a watch party for what we're going to be talking about here tonight. Yeah. So
I actually missed the entire debate last night because I was at the Minnesota State Capitol where they were passing red flags and universal background checks through a House Ways and Means Committee last night. So we got a lot of fighting going up in Minnesota, but I'm pretty sure I missed the entire thing last night. Had to watch the highlights today. So
it was actually, at one point I was watching on NBC on social media. There was like 200 and something thousand people. It was actually quite entertaining. I mean, I have to admit, I'm sure
the ratings were sky high. The ratings
was
on
far
Drudge.
More entertaining than the previous one.
It was their highest watched debate yet, is what I believe Drudge said, and there was a ton of excitement. I mean, it was great.
I think
people all walked up. They all walked up behind Bloomberg with a baseball bat and lined up on his head and connected as hard as they could. I mean, there was some good entertainment value in that debate last night.
Yes.
Which we were talking Bloomberg, or some of us were at least last night, and the guy just didn't seem to care. I mean, and I think that should show all of us, and particularly those of us who care about our Second Amendment rights. This guy's just ruthless, man. I mean, He is just ruthless. And, I mean, what is he, almost 80 years old? And the guy's just like, I want my legacy to be the destruction of the Second Amendment. I mean, That's what it comes down to.
Did anybody hit him on the fact that he didn't have the 200,000 donors or whatever is necessary to make it on the debate stage? Did anybody hammer him for the fact that he was even there?
No, because he made it. He's made it pretty clear in his previous videos. I'm not asking anybody to donate to me. That would be ridiculous. He did that whole shtick. So right. At least he's owning the fact that he doesn't need a red cent from anybody to try to buy the election.
There's a bunch of Democrats at the gym that I go to here in Northfield, and they were just furious, outraged that he was on that stage. They're all staunch Bernie supporters going, he's just on there because he has all the money. And they were really, really upset. So
I love that.
Triggered.
To me, the absolute best, most ironic part of the entire debate last night was watching Joe Biden double down after Elizabeth Warren attacking Bloomberg over sexual harassment issues.
I know. Bloomberg should have just
been watch creepy groper Uncle Joe assume the moral high ground and lecture Bloomberg on how he treats women.
Priceless.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great when Bloomberg was like, yeah, there could be a man or a woman or a man or somebody else or something else. I was like, what was there, like a transgender or something that he harassed or something too? I mean, it was hilarious. But the guy was he's just cold-blooded. Really, you can tell.
Last night was the first debate that I've watched the entire thing. All the other ones, everybody just kept saying were so boring. But like you said, last night there was a lot of fireworks and I kept waiting for the gun control stuff to come up too. And I think at the very end, Joe Biden was the only one.
Yeah, he's the only one.
In his closing statement, but you almost kind of wonder, did the party and did the moderators not want Bloomberg to talk about guns? Because if the base of the Democrat party,
that's his entire, control, that's just exactly.
Yeah, then you give him the entire stage, and obviously nobody has done more to decimate the Second Amendment than he has. And so if they don't want him to be the nominee, well, then guess what? You don't talk about his issue, and that is his issue.
Well, that's what I was bringing up earlier. It's like, well, if they don't want him, then they don't want to talk about that issue because nobody has more credentials in the destruction of gun rights nationwide than Michael Bloomberg does.
Yeah. They kept me there all freaking night. For that, I'm pretty pissed off because I could have done something else with my 2 hours, but I kept waiting to see the gun control stuff.
Well, Crazy Bernie's still in the lead, though. I mean, it seems like he's kind of solidifying his support. And I saw an article today. It was kind of funny last night too. People were like, "Why? I would respect Bloomberg more if the guy would just freaking walk off the stage and just be like, screw this. I'm gonna go back to my billions," But Bernie's got a lot of the delegates. I mean, when you listen to the people who aren't total hack politicos, and of course there's Democrats and Republicans who are actually factual, statistical, political people. They're like, man, Bernie's got the delegates, and he's only getting stronger, and he's going to get Nevada and all these places. And they said Bloomberg could even be out by Super Tuesday, which is at the end of March. So I'm sure he's going to go all in the next couple of months. But as soon as he goes out. I think we saw the article today, and I don't know what we want to talk about, but the guy's in it for what, $60 million for outside of his campaign for gun control in 2020.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been talking about here on this show, and we've been talking about here in the state of Ohio, is that this guy is opening all these field offices, and he's essentially pledging that he's going to underwrite this stuff and keep it open all through the entire all the way through the general election to help elect whoever the Democrat is. So he's going to roll everything he does into his push for gun control in 2021.
Well, not to get too off track from the debates, but I guess there's an article that got published for all the Missourians who are watching, and it applies to everybody. Missouri Times, this is like 5-6 days ago, Bloomberg's opened up 5 offices in Missouri. He's dumping $4 million into TV into Missouri, and his guy in the ground there, I'm trying to find this exact quote, but they've hired over 40 staffers, and he said, this is what he said, there's not a lot of skilled operatives and staff with the latest training, and we're going to fix that. They're going to know how to merge the worlds of digital organizing with traditional voter contact. It's great to see. We have 40 people on staff across the state. This is Missouri, mind you. And I'm watching them take their skills to the next level. And they're going to be here in 2022, in 2024, in 2026. This is important for state politics.
That's crazy.
This is important for state politics. So he's right. He's right. You got a bunch of old, for the most part, a bunch of old fuddy-duddy Republican strategists at the state level doing state level politics who still believe that, you know, an AOL email is cutting edge technology. And meantime, you have a bunch of 16-year-old, you know, Bloomberg funded kids who can post simultaneous ad campaigns on 5 social media platforms at 0.3 cents per engagement. And they wonder why Bloomberg people bring out 500 to 1,000 people to an event in a red state in the middle of a work week. And they out-organize so often. They out-organize everybody else. And this is about much more than the elections in 2020 for these guys.
I just want to say something real quick. People are noticing that I'm the smallest of the squares on the screen right now. It's okay. We're the biggest gun group here. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm pretty solid and confident what we got going on here in Ohio.
Well, I would love to like rotate the screen around, but I'm not sure how to do that. So
okay. Well, for those of you who are wondering, we do have this 5th person here, and he's been here once or twice before, but we're looking at Greg Pruitt from the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance has joined with us tonight. It's one of those states, you know, that where I'm really jealous of, kind of like Idaho, where they have constitutional carry and stand your ground law already on the books. That's what we're fighting like hell for here in Ohio, and we're fighting for in Pennsylvania, although Pennsylvania does have a stand your ground law. But welcome tonight. We only accept winners here on the American Firearms Coalition show. Greg's a winner. We don't take any losers on here, which is why you normally just see the 4 of us and all of our fantastic members who are tuning in. So welcome, Greg. Glad you're here.
Yeah, and as much as, you know, I enjoy living in Idaho and the freedoms that we have here in Idaho, which, you know, probably outweigh all the freedoms that all the rest of you have right now, especially Aaron. You know, it's changing over here. I mean, Bloomberg he already has one office that he opened up in Boise, which I know you guys talked about last week. We got 400 gun owners in like 2 days and went and met out in the cold and protested in front of his Boise office. And of course, none of them were there. They decided to close up shop while we were out protesting in front of their offices, like the cowards that they are. And we just found out he's actually opened up 2 more in Idaho. So Bloomberg is going to have 3 offices in one of the reddest states in the entire country, which should tell everybody something. I mean, this guy's dead serious. This is not a joke to him. He will buy his way. He will buy your state. And he's trying to buy Idaho. And right now, Idaho is changing very rapidly. We have the fastest growing state in the country. And we've got a lot of progressives here, a lot of rhino Republicans like Ben deals with in Minnesota. And there's no telling with Bloomberg's money coming in how fast he can flip a state with, you know, dumping $500,000 in somebody's coffers. I mean, he can do it very quickly. So,
well, that's the incredible part is like here in Minnesota, like we are under full-blown attack from not the Democrats. No, it's the Republicans in Minnesota who are viciously attacking the members and supporters of Minnesota gun rights while we're trying to stop gun control from passing here. I mean, these people are over here. We have all kinds of Republican legislators sponsoring, co-sponsoring, supporting publicly and privately gun control. And when we call them out, what do the Republicans do in this state? They attack not Moms Demand Action. Nobody's condemning Michael Bloomberg for opening 8 field offices in Minnesota and hauling hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars into this state to turn it blue and destroy our freedoms. No, the Republicans in Minnesota are spending all of their time attacking the largest no compromise gun rights organization in the entire state. What a good way to destroy yourselves, Republicans.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Oh my goodness. Somebody named Mike Deal in Pennsylvania, and hello to everybody watching Pennsylvania. He says that Christopher Dorr donated to Bloomberg. Mike, you're a You're a lion dog. You're a lion dog face pony soldier. And I know Mike. He is a lion dog face pony soldier.
Mike Deal, huh? How do you spell Deal? D-I-E-H-L?
Yeah. Yep. One of those Western Pennsylvania names right there.
There are a lot of folks who are watching, and if you guys are watching, if you wonder why we're always looking off screen, we're trying to run a bunch of watch parties for our various organizations. If you guys want to help us get it seen by more people, just host a watch party on your personal page. But there's a lot of folks in the watch parties who are watching for the first time, and then maybe we should discuss a little bit more, who we are, what we're doing.
We've been talking about this Bloomberg stuff, and every town for gun safety came out with an action plan. Obviously, his presidential campaign is setting up shop in every state in America right now, well, except Iowa. But they announced a $60 million plan to spend. Pennsylvania is top, front, and center. I mean, that's one of the states that they're just absolutely hammering. But they said it right here. This is their press release. They said, where did it go? I was just looking at it. Yeah, we're going to engage at the state level, defending allies like North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper and Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro, and work to elect more gun sense champions to state capitals in these states as competitive races emerge. So they're going to be, I mean, folks, Pennsylvania is 5 Senate races or 5 Senate districts and 8 House districts away from turning completely blue, so the fact that they're putting that much money into Pennsylvania, it's time to get off the freaking bleachers and start fighting like hell back. So we got a link in the comment section. Join with us. We got big plans to start mobilizing people in Pennsylvania, and we're doing that right now. So get involved. Go to pfamember.com.
Well, that's the thing. It's like there's so many people out there. There's so many states that don't have anybody fighting at all. There's just like there's no Second Amendment representation at all. And there's these people out there who just assume that the NRA is just like somehow like waving a magic wand over some state and getting something done. I don't know about you guys in your states, but my NRA lobbyist in Minnesota is the biggest limp-wristed soy boy you ever laid eyes on in your life. And I've seen him like slumped against the wall more times. I mean, I watched this committee chairman shouting at gun owners. This Republican committee chairman was saying, "Be quiet, you're a mob, you're a mob." He was screaming at the gun owners out in the committee, and he watched the NRA lobbyist sit there, and he ducks his head like this, and he just sits there and watches all of these gun owners get yelled at by these committee members. Nobody's fighting these fights, certainly not in Pennsylvania, and that's why we started the Pennsylvania Firearms Association. Somebody's got to fight it. Somebody's got to fight it.
Well, I mean, what Ben is talking about there is absolutely true. I mean, we come along, and I know that people like Mike Deal are watching this right now. I mean, this is a guy who very much believes in all these issues and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, our side has to do a hell of a lot more than has been being done. We just talked all about how Bloomberg is integrating technology with the old methods and stuff like that. That's exactly what these organizations do. And so that's what's been missing in a state like New York, like Pennsylvania. These states have massive pro-gun populations in them. And there's states like this all across America. But a lot of those people are not even aware that there is a massive cultural war in progress at their capitals in Harrisburg or Albany or wherever. And the message isn't getting to them. And what's worse is there's no tools being dumped in their laps so that they can become an active part of the fight back against this stuff. So that's what these organizations you're watching here tonight excel at. That's why we
and I think it's important, Chris, to point out that the organizations you guys see here. So here's the problem with Republicans a lot of the time is that they think that this is some toy game that we're playing here in politics, and they try to play nice, and they try to do all this stuff with these radical, rabid leftists who are destroying our country. And so the guys you see here, we don't play by the rules that a lot of these groups will play by. They try to play nice. They try to kiss the rear ends of these politicians and these lobbyists and stuff. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. And we are always adapting our abilities and capabilities based on what you guys need. We will adapt and we will go in the trenches and we will fight hard for you. So we don't just sit back and go, well, we've had the same system for the last 20 years. Let's just assume it's going to be okay. Behind the scenes, we are always talking to each other. Hey, what's working? What's not working? And we are adapting to the fight so that you guys are getting the best possible tools you have to go out and to contact your representatives, to pound these losers when they're stabbing you in the back.
Exactly. Because the way it's been done for the last 20 years and not changing, you know what that looks like? Virginia. That's what it looks like.
Yep. We should mention Virginia for a moment. I know a lot of guys saw the news. Was it on Monday?
Yeah.
I think it was on Monday. The assault weapons ban in Virginia was stopped in committee. Yeah. I know that a lot of gun guys across the country kind of breathed a bit of a sigh of relief that, oh, thank God, that was shut down. But that's just stupid. I mean, sure, we're happy that they stopped that bill, but I mean, Northam has guys through 5 major gun control bills on the wall. And to the best of my knowledge right now, 4 of those have already passed both chambers, and there could be some conforming amendments or some cleanup amendments that might need one more floor vote. But if they've already passed red flag gun seizures and universal background checks and 1 handgun a month, and the bill to allow cities to pass their own gun control bills. So sure, we can all sit back here and be happy that Virginians can keep their AR-15s. That's great. But for God's sakes, I mean, these guys are going to pass 4 monster gun control bills and then come right back again next year too. And so by no means am I insulting the Bob Richets of Virginia who are watching right now. Bob, not on the contrary, I'm not blaming you at all. What we're simply saying is that, for gun rights activists across the country, we can't be content to lose 4 out of 5 fights. It doesn't work. And frankly, of the 5 bills they were pushing in Virginia this year, I think the AR ban is about the 3rd or 4th most dangerous. Passing red flags and UBCs is the name of the game for these guys. And the way it looks, they've done it in both cases. Not to mention, when it comes to background checks in Virginia, Republicans were on that bill. Numerous Republicans were on that bill. And so, yeah, it's just the tactics that the right has used, that gun activists have used for a long time have been way expired. The technology that most of them use are completely expired. And as a result, we're getting our asses kicked left, right, and center. I just wish that Republican lawmakers, I hate using the term lawmakers. They're skeevy loser politicians almost to a person. But I just wish these politicians, these Republican politicians, I wish they would be as dedicated as the Democrats are when the Democrats get power. I mean, look at Virginia. If Republicans, I shouldn't say our Republicans, but if they were like them and just go for the jugular for freedom, oh, wouldn't that be something? I've never seen it.
I mean, if that was actually the case, our country would be nowhere close to where it is. I mean, that's the whole thing about President Trump. Some people love him, some people hate him. We had to push back on some of the things he was pushing. But at the end of the day, it's like before President Trump came along, the Republicans and the Democrats were all basically without exception working hand in hand to totally screw America. And they only paused long enough to hop on some, CNN camera or Fox News camera and say, oh, those Democrats, they're real bad. They're really messing us up. Go vote Team Red. And then the Democrats, those Republicans, they're really screwing us all over. Go vote Team Blue. But together, they're just shaking hands, man. They're just shaking hands. They're friends. They're kissing cousins. Isn't that what you call them? That's the way it's always been up until President Trump showed up and just turned the entire thing upside down on its head. And now a lot of those same rhinos have discovered that, well, if we want to win, we got to kiss the ring. We have to start going, woo, woo, Team Trump. That's the way it is in Minnesota.
Well, and another thing I like about the Democrats, and I'm not a big Democrat fan if you guys haven't figured that out yet, but I like how they go after their own and they cull the herd. Okay, so we have this problem in Ohio and in Pennsylvania where our threats against our gun rights right now, they're not coming from Democrats. It's not the Democrat bills. It's the Republicans. It's the Matt Dolans here in Ohio, and in Pennsylvania, it's Todd Stevens in the House and Tom Killian in the Senate. These Republicans are the ones sponsoring the gun control bills. And instead of like culling the herd and going after those people viciously, the Republicans are so desperate to try to maintain their power that they are allowing this cancer to exist in these parties. And so now gun owners are sitting here forced to go on defense against these Republican gun control bills. No wonder they lose their freaking majorities over time.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
a bad. I mean, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to break in here real quick. So for those, I also help out in Washington with our friends with Washington Gun Rights. Washington is just under full-blown assault from a tyrannical AG and a tyrannical governor there, Bob Ferguson and Jay Inslee. Yesterday, we were successful in killing an assault weapon and mag ban, but I just got word for those in Washington that there's another bill the Democrats are trying to ram through at the last minute, which would another mag ban bill. So for you guys in Washington, be on the lookout. I mean, that, and like Chris said, the Democrats they go all out. They don't care. And that's the one weakness. Well, there's a lot of weaknesses. That's one big weakness Republicans have is they won't try this kind of stuff. If they lose, they're like, oh, well, we lost. Screw it. Where the Democrats will do everything that they possibly can up until the very last second to try and ram their gun control through. So
something Aaron mentioned earlier, that in Virginia they're going to come back next year, and the governor's spokeswoman, even after that bill failed, I guess in committee on Monday, her quote was, "We'll just be back next year. We're coming back next year." These people are just freaking ruthless, man.
Yeah,
absolutely ruthless.
They just barely got power. That's
Exactly.
crazy. And that's why, here in Idaho, we have a super majority. And I believe down in Wyoming, they've also got a super majority. Republicans in both legislators. You've got a Republican governor in both states. And yet it's pulling teeth trying to get these people to do the right thing with an 80% Republican majority in both chambers. It's freaking outrageous.
That's wild.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, they're the ones I never met all these Democrat majorities who are willing to do, tremendous deals like that. It's like the Republicans are always willing to do a deal on gun control, and it's a very rare thing to see any I don't know of a single Democrat majority in recent memory that has done something like this. In Minnesota, everybody knows that our Republican Senate will never, ever advance a pro-gun bill. And they wouldn't do it even when they had a Republican House too, because to them, it's a losing issue. And advancing the Second Amendment, they think will hurt their reelection cause. So they are just never, ever, unless they're totally pushed by the grassroots, unless we at Minnesota Gun Rights can whip up such a fervor, they will never advance a pro-gun bill again. And they've, that's not just my, summation of the whole thing. They've been vocally saying that Senate Majority Leader Paul Gazelka has for a long time. So it just comes down to the grassroots, the members of the American Firearms Coalition, these state groups that you see on here. You guys, we are, the grassroots power that forces policy change in states all across America. And it's just the only way it works. There is no other way. It's no Republicans are fighting against the Democrats. Nah, that's not happening. It's the people fighting against an establishment that continues to win this fight.
I think sometimes older people, I'll say it like that, older people, they just don't understand. they don't get it. And they're convinced that it's still R versus D, D versus R. And I don't know, I probably worked, 150 gun shows in Iowa on behalf of Iowa gun owners. And, the number of times that a guy will come by in his 70s or above, and we give them a petition and say, help us pass constitutional carry. Or back in the day, it was help us pass a stand your ground law. And it's always the same kind of not always, but a lot of times it's a very arrogant very condescending. And you can always see them from 100 miles away because they had the very fancy, pleated, their fancy khakis on, their penny loafer, shoes on, which is still a thing, I guess, because they've owned them for 50 years. And they have this, and they'll say it. Well, I got mine. I don't care. Or you guys and your AR-15s, your black guns, that kind of crap. A lot of times they just kind of, and but what's nice though is that they're on their way out, but their grandkids, for a lot of reasons, because of Trump, in many cases, their grandkids know what's going on, and the grandkids are engaged in a way that we haven't seen in a long time.
Yes.
And because they can see what's happening. They see Bloomberg on their Instagram page every 5 seconds. They see him on YouTube every time they search for a video right now, and they know how much he hates America and hates our firearms. And so that is the good news insofar as these older folks are going to kind of leave the scene one way or the other, but their grandkids in particular are fired up.
We're definitely seeing that in Minnesota, for me personally, a major uptick in a much younger demographic of people who are getting involved in this fight. That's not been the case in the past. But we have tons and tons of 20 and 30-year-old members of these organizations who are vicious fighters and defenders of their freedom. They make phone calls. They send emails. I know a guy, tremendous guy, wonderful person. He's probably a little younger than me even, works a full-time job, and this guy lays down $5 just routinely, $5 at a time when he can give, and he's younger than I am. He's probably in his early 20s. It's like, man, these people are fighting like hell for their gun rights. And so I know people like to go, oh, Bernie's got all the young liberals and all these stupid millennials and the Gen Xers and stuff. Man, there's some great people out there, and they're getting on board with this model. Nobody gets on board with the dumb Dick Rogers model of lobbying in Iowa. Nobody gets on board with the losers at the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, because you know what? There's nothing cool and there's nothing effective about kissing politicians' butts all day. Exactly. Doesn't work, and it's pretty stinky. So,
it's so true. It's so true. I mean, people don't want to lose anymore. This is 2020. This is the era of winning. It's the era of Trump. Why would you go back to 1991? Leave that crap where it was.
Yep, I agree.
Well, hey guys, some of y'all see across the bottom of the screen we have www.joinafc.org. We have that for y'all easily because a lot of y'all ask in the comments, what's the website to join? Well, we have some folks hopping on board and joining tonight, guys. Head on down to joinafc.org across the bottom of the screen there and hop on board and join today. It's $35 a year, less than 10 cents a day, guys. Very, very easy to do. Takes you about 60 seconds. We already have a number of people popping in. We've got Mike in Langhorne, Pennsylvania is a new member.
Langer, Pennsylvania.
Langer, Varnell, and is it Moscow or Moscow, Idaho?
Now, I'd call that a cow.
What is it, Greg? Moscow or Moscow?
Moscow or Moscow?
No, you got to do Moscow.
Moscow, okay. We got Kale and Harrison. So people are coming in like crazy, guys. Head on over to joinafc.org right across the bottom of the screen. Everybody who joins as a member also gets our T-shirt that will be sent out to you in the mail along with a membership decal, guys. Join in with the fight with the American Firearms Coalition. Hop on board today at joinafc.org. Joinafc.org, guys.
Well, Wyoming are saying welcome to the guy from out west. Welcome to welcome to you, Greg. So I guess they like
repping the fry sauce, man. What's up?
Yeah. yeah. For all the folks we have watching right now in Wyoming,
Never heard of it.
we're not going. Well, yeah. Fry sauce, whatever. For all the folks who are watching in Wyoming, though, you've got friends and family in Idaho. We've always told you in the past, this is a place you've got to push them right into Greg Pruitt's organization. Idaho Second Amendment Alliance is the preeminent ass beaters in Idaho, and they have all the Attorney General lawsuit threats to prove it. And so, wait, doesn't that make you like a scam organization because the statists came after you and tried to shut you down? I mean,
Badge of honor. We should probably hang those on the banners behind us, all
I
the
was thinking
lawsuits and
Ooh,
crap that we get
I
attacked
like
with.
that.
It'd be kind of
Yeah.
fun.
Got
Well,
my
like,
42-page ethics complaint from the from Clell Bodler in Iowa. That'd be a nice one to mount on my wall. I like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like Chris said, this is the era of Trump. I mean, Trump pissed people off so bad that they've done nothing but try to remove him from power this entire time. This entire impeachment hoax was nothing but a great, big, fat hoax. In American politics, if you're not under total political attack from parties, from the Republicans, from the Democrats, you're doing it wrong. You're compromising, or you're choosing to just look at a problem, look at a fight that needs to be fought, and not engaging at all. And that way you totally remove yourself from effectiveness. I mean, yeah, every one of these organizations that you see, if you Google us, there's all sorts of hit pieces, all sorts of news articles and scam blogs and websites that are popping up left and right, like some people got nothing better to do with their time. And they're trashing every organization that you see in front of you. Ohio gun owners, Minnesota gun rights, on and on it goes. But you know what? If you're supporting an organization and you've never heard a bad word about them,
From politicians.
From politicians. I mean, from politicians, if you're not hearing, if they're not attacking them, it's because those organizations aren't putting pressure on them. Those organizations are taking the orders from the establishment politicians to sit down, shut up, and do as you're told. We've been told the same, and we gave them a great big middle finger back every time. Because we're not going to obey politicians. We're not going to sacrifice our freedom in order to be liked by, quite frankly, the scum of the earth, which is what most of these politicians are. So, man.
Robert Manning just said in Pennsylvania, he's like, they're only doing this stuff to Trump because they cannot control him. Robert, you nailed it on the freaking head right there. It's about control. They attack us. They attack my brothers, real and my Facebook brothers that are here tonight. They attack us because we cannot be controlled. Do you know why we can't be controlled? Because we're being controlled by another entity, and that is our members and our supporters. That is the only boss that we have in gun politics. We have zero loyalties to any other political entity in the states that we are fighting in. Normally, you start a group, you start to raise a little money on the side, you go into the state capitol, you get down on your knees, you beg, you kiss their butts, you kiss the ring of power, you sell your soul, and your members get screwed. That's how it normally works. They control you.
Yeah.
What Robert said here just a few minutes ago is absolutely true. They hate us. They hate President Trump because they cannot control us, because we're putting the power back in the people's hands, just like President Trump is.
Yeah. That's great, man. There's some great comments over here. This is good stuff. TJ said, I need to renew my AFC membership soon. Do it. Go to joinafc.org. Go to joinafc.org. Become a member of the American Firearms Coalition. If you live in any of the states that you see, please do join them as well. We need your help. We're in the middle of major fights in these states to protect our gun rights. And there's all these organizations, there's these politicians, and they're selling us out. They're selling us out at big time, and we have to fight back.
And a question on one of our pages and one of the watch parties is there an organization that you guys are involved with in Michigan? And the answer I like to give that kind of stuff always is not yet.
Not yet.
So, but that is a serious question. We get that question a lot. You know, what about my state? What about my state? What about my state? And so we're in a lot of states, and you can see 5 of them here right now. We're in a lot more, though, as you guys probably know from watching the past. Heavily involved, cut our teeth on Iowa politics. Iowa Gun Owners is a massive, long-lasting, ass-kicking organization. It's been slaughtering careers in Des Moines for 12 years now. So the Missouri Firearms Coalition is the group you want to be involved with in Missouri. Nasty battles have been won and have been maintained in Missouri for several years now.
So much winning.
You got what's that?
So much winning.
Oh gosh, Wyoming, big fights happening out there. We just stopped a bunch of gun control in Cheyenne. I was out there testifying or lobbying rather last week. Was that last week? So if you're in Wyoming, get up with Wyoming gun owners. But if there's not a state group in your state, you should launch one. You should start one. Contact any one of the 5 of us guys you see here, and the requirements they're pretty long. They're pretty long, and I'll try to dumb it down as small as I can. Just have a pair. That's it.
That's it.
I mean, that's it. We can help you with the technology. We can help you with the fundraising. We can help you with the messaging. We can help you with the lobbying. We can help you with the event coordinating. We have experts in all those areas on this show right here, and we've helped set up groups in lots of states. And there's just so many states.
That's how we ran into Greg Pruitt that one night on that one sidewalk. Hey, here's this guy. Let's help him.
Why don't you tell that story?
Clean him up, stand him up, get him a shave and a shirt. No, I mean, I think what, Greg, you called me in like 2015, and you guys were rocking and rolling out there. Was it 2015?
Well, and that's one of the interesting things about my story is that I've been on both sides. Okay, so when I started my organization in Idaho in 2012, I was trying to do it the way the Republican Party told me I was supposed to do it. I would go there, I would try to educate the legislators, I was handing them pamphlets, I was doing all this stuff. And for 2 years, I wasn't getting anywhere. And then I'm getting pissed off. And then one of our mutual friends, Anthony Bouchard, who
the great Senator Bouchard from Wyoming,
state senator from Wyoming, I think he messaged me on Facebook, and he's like, "Hey, man, I see you're struggling. I see that stuff is not going your way. We were trying to fight for constitutional carry." He said, "I'm going to help you out." And I said, "Dude, I will do whatever you tell me, because all these people in the Capitol are telling me to do this thing, and it is not working." And so he put me in contact with Aaron, and we brought Aaron in. We flew Aaron in. He did some training for us, and now we've got constitutional carry. We've got better stand your ground. We've got all sorts of stuff going on in Idaho, and people are afraid of this organization. They're afraid of our members because we have ousted 32-year and 10-year incumbents. I mean, we've been throwing legislators out of office, the gun owners have, and now they listen when we speak up. So
I love that.
And you've paid a price. And you've paid a hell of a price. I mean, how many weeks was it after you bumped off Chairman Lurcher, 32-year incumbent, before the first lawsuit legal threat came from the AG's office?
Yeah, just a few weeks after, and we were already
it's
getting
an instantaneous connection, guys. If you fight against the establishment, they're going to fight back. It's just how it works. And in some cases, that means anonymous websites designed to attack you. In some cases, that means 42-page ethics charges they gave against me. In Greg's case, there was threats from the Attorney General's office trying to destroy his organization because
state patrol investigations.
Right. Because 32-year incumbents have friends.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Well, they're the ones in power. They have the power. Ordinarily, they're the ones who control it all. They control the government. They control the money. They control what laws become law or don't become law. They are the people who are at the top. And if you're one of the little guys at the bottom saying that's a bunch of crap and we're not going to stand for it, they will try to stomp you out. And so you know what you do? You gather a whole bunch of these little guys, a whole bunch of us, like in Minnesota, thousands and thousands of little guys, and you knock those effers right over. Tip over the big guys. Take your rights back. Tell them you're not going to take it. You can file your ethics complaints. You can send that crap. You can do an investigation, man. It's just, but that's just it. We're not going to back down. We're going to win. We're going to win. Like Greg was just talking about, everything he did finally got the bill passed, and they're trying to crush him for doing so. Screw those politicians. We're going to fight back.
What was it you said, Greg, about, and this goes back to what Aaron was saying about those of y'all who want to start organizations in your own state. Probably the biggest lie or that people believe is that all you have to do is go up there and educate the politicians on how great the Second Amendment is and hand out pocket constitutions and pamphlets. That stuff goes straight in the trash. Straight
Well,
in the trash.
I know that's true because I used to be a Senate aide myself, and one of my jobs was hauling out that kind of crap. Just chuck it in the trash. I got a couple of good ones. What was that organization I got all those books from?
Tom Woods book.
I got a bunch of Tom Woods
yeah.
books, copies of nullification, because every legislator got one and they all chucked them in the trash. So I just walked around to all the trash cans and picked out the copies of nullification and hocked them on eBay. You know, it was great. But they don't care. They just don't care. You got to move the needle, and sometimes it takes a 4x4 across their political faces in order for them to wake up and notice. That's what these organizations do. They beat the hell out of these legislators until they get the point.
Well, I think one of the biggest lies that's been just totally foisted on the American public for all this time
Preach it.
is that Republicans and Democrats, they want the best for America.
Listen
they
to
want
this
the best
right here.
You know, and we hear it all the time. The Republicans, they say, oh, those Democrats, they're not so bad. They want what we want for America. We just see things from a little bit of a different perspective.
Right.
And the Democrats sit there and say, those Republicans, they're not so bad. We all want a better America. They just see things from a little bit different perspective. Politics is nice. It's a gentleman's game. We talk, we have gentle debates, and together we come up with wonderful policy that will make Minnesota better, and that'll make this state better, and that'll make America better. And anybody who comes up here and is nasty, oh, they're bad. Those are not nice people. That's just not the way we do things around here. And I have to tell you, that is the biggest damn lie, I think, in many ways, in all of American politics. Politics is war. It's a blood sport. It is a constant struggle between who holds the power over the American people. Is it the government that has gotten far too large? Far too large. They control far too much of our lives. Is it the government who's in charge, or is it the people? And so as organizations, it is our job. It is our main goal to take that power away from a massively bloated, oversized government and return it to where it belongs, in the hands of the people. And if you don't think that massively bloated government isn't going to try to crush us for doing so, you'd be wrong. You'd be wrong. But that's what politics is. It's an absolute war to save our country, to bring it back. It's not nice. It's not fun. It's not a picnic. It's not going up there and holding hands and spinning in circles and singing Kumbaya with politicians. It's nasty. It's mean. It's harsh. It's rough. But go ahead.
And gun owners in Virginia just found out exactly what a culture war it is. Gun owners in Washington State, gun owners in California, Colorado, they realize these things. New York, Illinois, they realize the truth of what Ben is saying here because they're feeling it right now. What we're trying to do here is make sure that that bullshit never takes firm root in the states that we're fighting in.
I mean, what's happening now in those states is the culmination of decades of
planning,
war. of hand-holding, of slowly eroding the freedoms until all of a sudden they just crush them and they take them all at one time. And everybody's going, what's happening? What's happening? How do we stop this? You should have stopped it 20 years ago.
Yes.
You should have stopped it 20 years ago. That's what we're trying to do here in all these states. We're trying to stop these states from becoming like that. And it's mean, nasty, dirty work. And we're just the guys for the job. We're just the guys for the job. And so are you. So are you. Don't ever let somebody tell you that you get a few more, flies with honey instead of vinegar. I don't want flies. I want to slap them.
If you ask most of the people, I bet if you ask most of the people watching this video right now, they would tell you, what do politicians care about the most, right? Getting reelected. Almost everybody unequivocally agrees with that. So what you have to understand is human nature. And when these people get power, when they have titles, when they have money, when they have this power in the Capitol, and this is whatever state you're watching it, it's all the same everywhere you go. The only thing they care about is getting reelected. So you have to ask yourself, how do you get them unelected, right? You have to create this fear in them. If you're going to get them to do what you want, you have to create a fear that they will lose that job. Now, are you going to do that, going there and kissing their rear ends and playing the games that they want you to play? No, absolutely not. You have to change the game to a point where when you walk into the Capitol, they go, oh my gosh, here comes Minnesota gun rights, or here comes Ohio gun owners, or Iowa gun owners, whoever it is. When they go, oh crap, if we don't do what they tell us, then guess what? We're out at election time. We know they're going to throw us out of office because they've been doing it to other people. I mean, Iowa gun owners flipped your entire Senate by throwing so many people out of office into the political gutters. And so you guys have to understand, when we go play nasty, when we play this dirty war like Ben is talking about, it's because we understand political nature is in play. Human nature is in play, that unless they fear losing their jobs, they don't care about you. They don't care about what you think. If you've got liberal friends and family members and you haven't changed them into hardcore conservatives, what chance in hell do you have of turning some dirtbag politician with all the money and the power? You have none.
Excellent point.
So we painted kind of a little bit of a dire picture, maybe, in terms of what it means to be involved in the gun rights fight. But I mean, first of all, I've got a bunch of kids. I'm not sure how many kids I have. I have paused from I got a bunch of kids. Everybody here's got a bunch of kids on this broadcast tonight. So if you have kids or grandkids or ever intend to have any, then
you don't have a choice.
You don't have the right to sit here on your ass and just check out. So if you can't lead this fight, then so be it. But if you're watching this broadcast and you're a young guy or a young gal, young is in relative, young's a relative phrase, and you want to get involved in this fight, reach out to us. Heck, if you're a 17-year-old watching this broadcast tonight and you want to get involved in this fight and run a group in your state in a couple of years, look us up. It's only going to get nastier, and we need younger people who have no problem getting nasty to be the ones who step into these shoes and lead these charges forward.
That's actually a great thing that we should probably stop and talk about for just a second. If you are 20 years old, 18 years old, you love this country, you hate the liberal disease that has taken root in our country, and you want to make fighting for freedom your life's work, reach out to us. If you're very soft-hearted and soft-spoken, probably not the line of work for you. But if you're good at video editing or stuff like that, also reach out to us, because we need this kind of talent moving forward. We're always looking for that kind of stuff. So please reach out to any one of the pages that you're watching on right now. If you have a set of skills that you think can be put to use in this fight, and especially if you're young, you're a young male, and you just want to absolutely become a political brawler for freedom for the rest of your life, we can help. We can help you with those talents. We can help build those up. And especially if you're a video editor, we'd like to hear from you on that stuff too. So please reach out to us. We can put you to work. We can help. We can help you help America by getting involved with this.
Well, what did Aaron say a minute ago? He's like, if you want to do this, all you need is a pair. Well, truth is, most of the time, you don't even need that. I mean, the biggest fighters we found in some of these states like Minnesota are the women. Just no fear. Fight like absolute animals. They're incredible people. Some of the women are just the ballsiest fighters you ever met in your entire life. True women and patriots. Sometimes my wife's like, what kind of woman hopped on a wagon train and traveled west into the absolute unknown? These types of women who stand up and fight for their freedom. They live now. They live in America. They live with us. They fight with us every day. So if you're one of those women, contact us. We'll help. We'll help.
It was more absolutely of a metaphor, Benny.
Oh, I know, but I just wanted to throw it out there about the ladies. I mean, I've never seen, in many ways, I've never seen that level of courage in anyone as I've seen in some of the women that I get to personally fight with and alongside here in Minnesota. No fear, courage like you've never seen. It's incredible. It's incredible. Patrick, what are you doing over there? You haven't said much.
Man, you know what? I got 2 freaking phones going, man. It's not good tonight. So I'm just being real with y'all. I'm following the new members. I'm communicating with new members.
Well, there's a
and that's what's going down.
There's a rumor going out. Jeff Hopton made a comment. Jeff Hopton's one of Ohio's great Second Amendment defenders. He's there at the State House with me all the time on behalf of our members and supporters. But he said, oh, yeah, they fear Chris Dorr of Ohio gun owners. And I responded back. I said, they fear our membership, straight up. And then Charles said something I think is probably true as well. He said, it's his beard. It's like its own freedom fighter on its own. It is true. This is the secret weapon. You should see what it does at the State House for everybody's freedom. You nailed it, Charles.
The beard.
That's great. That's great.
Well, for my friends in Washington, where I serve as the political director, we're trying to get the same thing rocking in Washington State as well. Washington State, again, under full assault from gun grabbers. Luckily, we've got people like Representative Matt Shea, who is just a full-blown patriot. The guy is not just your regular politician either. I don't know if you guys know this. Last year, a couple of years ago in Sandpoint, Idaho, Representative Matt Shea, so the VA was going to come and take this veteran's guns. And one of our representatives, Heather Scott, and as well as Representative Matt Shea from Washington, went and stood on the doorstep with the sheriff and was like, pound sand, VA, you're not taking this veteran's guns. I mean, that's the kind of guy that Representative Matt Shea is. And Washington is just blessed to have him and a couple others. I think they had 100 amendments to kill this gun control bill the other day. And so just glad to be working with you guys in Washington as well. We're all in this together. If all these states keep falling, eventually we all fall. And that's what Bloomberg's doing, right? He's just buying off state after state after state and pummeling state after state. And so we're all in this together. We're all the United States. And if we don't stick together and help each other, then we're all going to burn together. So
preach it.
So what are we hitting? State roundup or what?
Yeah. Patrick's like cracking the whip over there.
Well, look, it's reality.
Hungry.
Look,
probably hungry.
No, it's not hungry. It's a battle of attrition tonight. Okay, let's just. The president of the United States is on, and I don't want to have to remind people of that again.
Yeah.
But if we have ammo to fire, we might as well fire it on another show. I mean, I'm just being honest with y'all. Okay.
Shane says the beard is very powerful. Very powerful. He
right
says.
On, Shane. You're my man. He understands.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right now, Peggy said Minnesota gun rights is under full-blown assault right now. Let's talk about that for just a minute here.
Do it.
It's true. We have kicked these politicians so hard that they are in absolute freak-out mode. I'm talking as a complete and total party. The Minnesota legislature is loaded with the rhino right. The rhinos. They hate President Trump. They hate the babies. They hate our guns. They love our tax dollars. I mean, they freaking love them. In fact, they love nothing more than paying for 100,000 Middle Easterners to come here and settle in our state and totally destroy our politics. And they are attacking us with everything that they have got right now. In fact, the Senate Majority Leader, Paul Gazelka, just put out an entire video attacking Minnesota gun rights, attacking our beautiful members and supporters, anything they can do to silence the truth, anything they can do to shut us up. And it's like we were talking earlier on here. It's like, man, I'm glad it's not 100 years ago, 200, 300 years ago. I mean, they would try to roll us in ditches. That's how this stuff works. Yep. The type of exposing that we are doing here in the state of Minnesota and in all these other states as well. That's the type of stuff that back in the old days, they tried to bump you off for that stuff.
Yeah, they try to kill us for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, their entire power structure is threatened by the members of Minnesota gun rights. And so they have the most powerful rhino Republican in the entire state Senate Majority Leader Paul Gazelka comes out and is throwing everything he's got at us, but he will not win. He will not win. You know why? Because truth always wins. It always wins. And the members of Minnesota Gun Rights are not easily deceived by politicians. And these politicians have lied and attacked and fleeced and destroyed these freedoms for so long in Minnesota. Now they stand up there and try to condemn us as scammers and liars. No, you are politicians. You are professional liars, scammers, and thieves, fleecing us of our money, trying to seize our firearms, and you attack the only organization in this beautiful state who's standing up against your total bullshit. That's the price you pay to win for our freedom, because right now we are trying to win by stopping all this gun control from becoming law. And these people are desperate to shut us up. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. These people will pay the price at election time in 2020 or 2022 or 2024. We're never leaving. We're never walking away.
Or 2044.
Yeah,
and we don't care. Like,
we'll be here for decades.
Each one of us have a great big ass whiteboard in our wall, and there's a hunting list, and it's right there. And the problem is, here's the thing: I got this 4x8 board.
We're supposed to keep that whiteboard and the list a secret.
Really? Well, I had this 4x8 whiteboard, but I have to remount that sucker now. Now it's 8x4 because I need more height to add more names to our list.
You daggum right.
But it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you come across when you cross our path and you get on this list. You only get off one way. You die. Well, two ways. You die, or you get politically killed off at election time in the primaries, the general, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. It's just, we will be patient. I mean, not that patient, but we're content.
I mean,
to come after you every time we have to until you're gone. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Well, we're still prosecuting anti-gun lawmakers in Iowa over the constitutional carry vote they shot down in 2010. And we're not going to quit. We're just not going to quit.
Yeah, because all the votes go into the spreadsheets, the tracking spreadsheets, and any chance, and they tried to launch a state patrol investigation into me here in Iowa for talking like this once before, but they don't have much of a sense of humor. But we literally load those votes where they vote against our freedoms, where they vote against our kids and our grandkids. We load those votes into the gun of political action, and we point that sucker forward. And anytime one of these dogs come across our political sites, we pull the trigger of exposure against these corrupt, evil people. And we hit them as hard as we possibly can at election time to make them pay the ultimate political price. That's what we're doing right now. That's what I've been doing all day here in Ohio for Ohio Gun Owners members, is getting these things ready for our Republican primary, because that's when it hurts them the most. So, yeah, we prosecute them for stuff they did back in 2010. We'd go back way further if we can find the votes to
well, I mean, here, it's for all the folks who are watching right now in Wyoming, you guys remember the name Fred Emmerich. Fred Emmerich, he attacked constitutional carry like a dog when Anthony Bouchard, who is now a state senator, when he was the legislator, when he was the activist out there pushing that bill, Fred Emmerich went out of his way to attack that bill. I wasn't involved in WIGO back then. He may have opposed it, but he at the very least did all he could to publicly attack the bill. And Fred Emmerich was destroyed in a primary that I had the pleasure of being involved in 2018 on behalf of WIGO. He lost his seat 8 years later. 8 years later, because he attacked constitutional carry when it passed in Wyoming in 2010 or 20, I think it was 2011, excuse me. And 8 years later, there was Wyoming gun owners. We'd had that gun cocked for 7 or 8 years, and we got a kill shot on him in 2018. So it doesn't matter.
Well, that's the difference. That's the difference. And these politicians all know it. You see, their power comes from being in office. The moment they are no longer in office, they have no power whatsoever. We are not elected officials. We're not going to. I have no intention at this particular time
No
to
term
run.
limits
Everybody's
for us.
asking you to
Yeah.
run. Everybody's asking you to run for
Oh, I
governor,
know.
Ben.
I get that all the time. It's insane. It's insane. It's like, come on, people. But I mean, we're going to be here forever. We're going to be here forever. Long after these politicians, long after Paul Gazelka is gone, long after Kurt Dowd is gone, long after these politicians are gone, when it's an entirely new generation of losers in our state capitol building, we will still be here fighting for our gun rights. You see, the only way these people can think of to run us out, to shut us down, is to defund us. So their big, desperate attack is they're scammers, they're scammers, they're scammers. Don't send them money. Because if we don't have any money, we can't expose them. Because every dollar that we raise from beautiful patriots all across America, those dollars have a name on it. They have a politician's name written on it. That money will be spent to expose these politicians. And so they desperately try to shut us down and defund these organizations. And so far, they've been nothing but tremendously, utterly unsuccessful. And in fact, I had a politician just the other day. He was a Republican who sponsored universal gun registration in Minnesota. And I stuck a camera in his face and I said, why did you sponsor universal gun registration? And he starts shouting, don't give these guys any money. Don't give these guys any money. They're scammers. Don't give them any money. And he runs off. Man, well, we put that video out there as one of the best fundraisers we ever had, because gun owners are sitting there going, screw this, Yahoo. You attack my gun rights, and then you tell me not to give money to the organization that's exposing you? Screw you, pal. Here's $1,000 with your name on it. It's happening. It's happening right now. So while these politicians here in Minnesota, while Paul Gazelka is running around promoting a scam group website that he created, what he doesn't know is that he's pushing more patriots toward us than we ever could have pulled towards us ourselves. And he is helping us to raise the resources necessary to boot stomp him and his rhino friends at election time. So
what I like, it sounds like something like this little rhyme I like to say, Ben, is the more the politicians talk, the more the people walk over to the gun groups. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Yeah. And I feel like, I know you guys have been threatened a little bit more than I have here recently, but maybe I need to step on the gas. But it seems like years ago they said, oh, they're physically threatening me. I know, Chris, you had a thing where they tried to stick the state police on you, but now they've transferred from physically threatening. They threaten me to, oh, they're just scammers. It seems like they have like an interconnected email list where they talk to each other and say, scam. They're scammers. Yet these people are taking money from lobbyists and hooking up with the lobbyists, and it's just like a big fat scam.
What we always tell all the people who are accusing us of being scammers is simply prove us to be liars. How about you pass constitutional carry and stand your ground law in your states if you don't have those already, and then see if Ohio gun owners or Pennsylvania Firearms Association or Iowa gun owners or all these other entities, Minnesota gun rights, then see if we continue to attack you, then you will know. But all these people have to do is the freaking job they took an oath to do when they got elected to prove us wrong. That's all they got to do.
No.
Yeah. I mean, Republicans have had control of the Minnesota Senate for 4 years, and they say Minnesota gun rights is attacking pro-gun lawmakers. Really? I've yet to see any pro-gun votes at all. Just because you have an R by your name and a bunch of you are supporting red flag gun seizures and universal gun registration, how am I supposed to sit here and tell my members, our membership, and these guys are great, these guys are wonderful, they're pro-gun Republicans? No, you're not. You guys suck at everything, and you're destroying our freedom. And Travis here says, please don't quit. The fact that you do not is why I support you, fine gentlemen. Thank you, Travis.
Perfect example.
You know, we live. I'm sorry, Patrick.
No,
I
go
talked
ahead.
right over you.
Go ahead.
We live by that mantra. You know, we know there are people who are members of our organizations. There are times in their life when they want to quit. We never quit. Not ever. We will never, ever, ever quit.
Are you kidding me? The fight's just getting fun.
Exactly. And as you guys pour out resources and equip these organizations with the tools that are necessary, oh, so necessary, we're getting bigger and stronger and far more powerful than ever before in American or state history. And we would never even dream of quitting when there's so much winning on the road ahead of us. There is so much. We can see it. We can see it just like George Washington could see it when he was fighting those hard battles. He could see the prize. That's why they kept on fighting. We will not ever quit because we see it just like you see it. And we're not ever going to stop.
Yeah.
Why would we?
Yeah. And that's why
Well, we had a thing today.
These politicians who attack us the way they do, it's like, haven't you seen what happened to President Trump?
Yeah.
The guy gained 1 million brand new members who had never donated to him before in the last 5 years. In all this time President Trump has been on the scene, these people didn't believe in him enough to donate to his reelection campaign. The guy gained 1 million new members because of this impeachment, donors, because of this impeachment hoax. Don't you politicians understand when you attack organizations who are standing strong, who are fighting, who are honest, who are telling the truth, who are pulling the curtains back, who are exposing you? All you do, again, is push the greatest people right over to us, and you prove yourselves to be the scumbags that you are. Liars. And the people who are driving this country to whatever extent you can, driving it into the ground. We are lifting it up. Our members are bringing this back. President Trump is bringing this back. And you piece of crap politicians will not win over that. You just won't.
Yeah, perfect example for those of y'all down here in Georgia, going back to the legislature, and I'll go ahead and start the state roundup unless we consider ourselves already in it.
Go for it.
Yesterday, so 35,000 emails over the course of this legislative session for constitutional carry here in Georgia. Legislators getting massive pressure. Okay, there's a lot of squabbling going on between the governor and the speaker down here. They're both getting smacked around on guns. The speaker's smacking the governor around on some other issues. But so yesterday in a House committee, they passed a reciprocity bill, a gun bill, that allows anybody with a weapons license or permit in another state to carry in the state of Georgia. Okay, big whoop, okay? It's not that it's bad. It's just this is what they're going to deliver us. Zero people have emailed in favor of or called or petitioned in favor of that legislation. 35,000 have emailed, called, petitioned on constitutional carry. And guys, here in Georgia, I'm telling y'all, you have to have discernment when it comes to the elections and the primaries that are coming up, because we have 180 districts in the state of Georgia. These people are going to trot around this bill, a reciprocity bill that nobody freaking cares about, and they're going to say that they are the greatest Second Amendment fighters. They're only doing it to release the pressure valve on them, guys. I mean, that is what this is all about. It's a bunch of bull crap. And in a nutshell, in the last 2 days, I know we had a state roundup Saturday night, but that's what's happening here in Georgia, is the politicians are trying to pull the wool over a lot of gun owners' heads. And I saw an article today that said concealed carry bill passes in Georgia, and all these gun owners were sharing it around the state of Georgia. You know what it is? It's so other people can carry when they come to the state of Georgia. It's nothing. What? It's crap. What? They're running a game on you guys. They're running a game. It's bull crap. So that's what's happening in Georgia.
Well, that's just how politics works. It's like the entire structure of state government is designed to be as confusing as humanly possible for the average guy, for the layman, to understand. I mean, you get a freaking headache trying to just navigate the legislative website for most of these things. It is designed to be almost impossible for somebody, well, like the average American, to know what the hell is going on in the legislature. The whole process is designed to benefit the politicians. I mean, there's cover bills, and there's committee structures, and there's the way they can pass a bill, and there's all kinds of leadership bills and amendments. There's all kinds of things these people can do just to protect themselves from the eyes of the public, so that nobody can just look it up so easily. And that's what's happening right now in Georgia. It's a great big dumb con. It's a big cover bill that looks good on the surface and is almost impossible to know what the heck is going on if it wasn't for Patrick there constantly going, hey, here's the truth, pulling back the curtain. Here's what's actually happening. Here's what's actually happening. The politicians are using this system to totally destroy our freedoms. And that's how we got from, well, where we were to where we are. You got to fight back. If a politician tells you something, I would, my best advice is just assume they're feeding you a line of crap. If you live in Minnesota, it's certainly the case. Nobody up here is telling the truth. They're all working double time to snuff out the opposition or the people who are speaking the truth and exposing them.
Yeah. Well, I'll do my roundup real quick. My computer's starting to get jacked up, so if I lose you guys, I apologize. But in Idaho, we've got constitutional carry expansion. We're trying to finalize it. We did push through lowering the age limit down to 18 last year, and we're trying to finish off the last little piece here in Idaho. Working on some preemption battles. We're fighting Mayor Rongstad up in Sandpoint, who's trying to create more gun-free zones in Idaho. That's not going to fly. You guys have dumped, I think, 6,000 emails in just a few weeks here in the state of Idaho into the legislature. Absolutely fantastic. And doing everything we can to push the hearings and get all of our bills moving, because it's an election year. And I'm willing to remind as many politicians as possible who is the boss, and that is the people, if they stand in the way again. So for the folks in Washington, we are, again, working with Representative Matt Shea, trying to watch for, apparently they're trying some last minute gun control, breaking some rules, going around the rules in order to push their stuff. And that's what the Democrats do. They don't care. They'll go around everything if they have to get what they want. And so we've killed a lot of gun control in the state of Washington this year. Some stuff has gotten through. The really bad stuff we've been able to kill so far. Again, the battle is not over until the very last day of session. So stay tuned and stay active in that fight. And we need you guys in Washington. So go to joinwgr.com, joinwgr.com if you're in Washington State. And for the folks in Idaho, it's joinisaa.com. Need you guys in this fight. We're just one people, right? When we walk in the Capitol, we're nobody. We're one person, but they know who we represent. And that's what ultimately makes these organizations so successful.
Yeah. Preach it. I'll go next. Ben kind of broke Minnesota down for everybody there, which was a very good study, or a case study for how politics works. What he's talking about there in Minnesota with freedom-hating, baby-killing losers like Paul Gazelka, he's circled in red right there. It's not a Minnesota problem. That's an America problem. It's every state in America with very few exceptions. So I'm glad that he got a chance to talk about all that stuff. But here in Ohio, let's do Pennsylvania first. Obviously, everybody heard about this already, but Governor Wolf used his budget speech last week in order to call on the legislature to pass $10 million to appropriate for gun control studies, for gun control programs. 4 of that was to go directly to the city of Philadelphia and their studies on gun control and stuff like that. Attorney General Josh Shapiro is lining up to become the next governor out after Wolf terms out in a couple years. He's moving quickly to outlaw and ban 80% lowers and classify them as firearms and stuff like that. So, I mean, and like I said earlier, there's 8 votes in the House, 5 votes in the Senate that separate Pennsylvania from becoming completely blue. And so please go to pfamember.com. We're going to start running a nasty, aggressive program like we've been talking about here in all that we're currently doing in all these other states. That is now underway in Pennsylvania. I've been out there having meetings with people. That's underway. Go to pfamember.com, sign up, become a member out there. Here in Ohio, there's so much going on here in Ohio. We've got House Bill 425. It's basically a watered down bill that people were trying to push through committee this week. It's just all it does is lower the penalties for Ohio's duty to notify. We have a ridiculous duty to notify law. We're one of 9 states where if an officer approaches you, you have to notify him that you're carrying a firearm and that you have a CHL and all this different crap, and it's a misdemeanor 1. It's a gun conviction if you don't. So that's a big problem, but all they're doing is lowering the penalties and fees for that. And we've been putting a lot of pressure on the Ohio General Assembly for the last several weeks to get them to push stand your ground law. Last several years, I should say, to get them to push stand your ground law. As an update, on Saturday night when we last did this show, there was 177,000 emails that have been sent in by Ohio gun owner members and supporters into the General Assembly demanding stand your ground law. Well, since Saturday night, that number has climbed up to 186,883 emails that have been bombarding the Ohio State House demanding stand your ground law. I am hearing rumors now. There's Ohio Gun Owners and Pennsylvania Firearms Association. One of the things we excel at is developing information channels, and we work very hard at developing information flows because we don't want our membership to be caught off guard about stuff. But we are hearing rumors now that some of the bills that are stuck in the House Criminal Justice Committee that George Lang, the chair of that committee, has been sitting on, we are hearing rumors that there is movement underway for those fantastic pieces of legislation. So there's a lot that could very likely be happening here in the near future. We're going to keep you up to date on all of that as things become more clear, as we can confirm things we've heard. A lot of times we have a lot of information about what is exactly going on, but we don't want to reveal our sources, and so we wait until information is publicly available to keep that plausible deniability for a lot of our contacts and networks inside these chambers. So a lot of stuff likely coming our way. Stay tuned. Go to OGOupdates.com, become a member at joinOGO.com. In Pennsylvania, it's PFAupdates.com and PFAmember.com. And if you have more questions about that, hit us up on our own Facebook page. But that's Ohio and Pennsylvania.
This is my turn then. We got a lot going on in a lot of states where I'm working at, guys. But for the folks who are watching in Missouri tonight, a big announcement came out by email maybe an hour and a half ago. In the Missouri House, when it comes to SEPA legislation, Second Amendment Preservation Act, we now have 82 co-sponsors on SEPA legislation. Wow. That is over half of the Missouri House. So we already have the votes we need to pass the freaking bill. 82 sponsors or co-sponsors, including the sponsor, Jared Taylor, pushing SEPA legislation. Now, that doesn't really count for crap if these two people keep blocking the bill. General Laws Chairman Dean Plocker, General Laws, Gen Laws, they call it, Chairman Dean Plocker, who's been out of the state all week in Washington, D.C., dicking around. So when the clock is moving in Jeff City, where's he at when it comes to chairing his committee? He's in D.C. for a week doing God knows what to God knows who. And so SEPA legislation is ready to rock and roll. It's got 82 freaking people on it, over half of the chamber. We'll see what happens. On that exact same bill in the Senate chamber, the bill was supposed to move out today from the Senate Public Safety Committee, and it was being held up, and it's being held back by one lawmaker, Lincoln Huff. And we're going to have more on that for our members in Missouri in the coming days. But so there's a real problem right now with that Senate committee, so be watching that very closely.
How could you speak so poorly about the Republicans in Missouri?
Yeah,
Don't you know you're supposed to kiss their butts? Yeah. That's how you win.
Well, if for those who are watching in Missouri, this is the photograph This is the downstairs of the Capitol, guys. 750 moms demand action. Red shirt radicals bust in there by Bloomberg a couple days ago, screaming, crazy, demanding gun control. This fight's raging down there, and the Republican moderate elites are doing nothing to fight back for gun owners, which is no surprise. In Iowa, as the Iowans all know, we had House File 2367 introduced in the last couple of days, red flag gun seizure law in Iowa. This is being pushed by 2 Democrats right now, Joe Olson and Kristen Sunday. We'll wait and see what happens with the bill. The concern we have to be wary for those who are in Iowa is not this bill. As our email yesterday said, the problem here is, the concern here is that Matt Winchell, House Majority Leader, who has been on Iowa Press talking about his willingness to advance. Now, here's for all you Iowans who are watching, Matt Winchell is telling you in every single email he sends you that I never expressed support for red flags. So I thought to myself, Aaron, you have a fantastic memory. Fantastic. But you also have a burning hatred for this prick. So maybe, just maybe, that clouded out your memory. But I saved it, and I went back and I watched it this morning. And it is exactly what I thought it was. He is doing the same bait and switch the Republican lawmakers all over the country are doing right now. He says, oh, no. This is bad stuff. But if we take care of the ex parte hearings and we make sure you're there, now we have a conversation. And so Matt Winchell's already talking with Democrats across the aisle in the Iowa House, trying to build consensus for an improved version of red flag gun seizure laws. And that is the risk. This bill, not the risk, but as amended and then controlled by Republicans, that is a disaster, because they could tweak the ex parte hearings. They could take out the telephonic option to file the petition. They could take out the fact that they can use your fact as a gun owner against you in court. They could take out these little details and then say, you see, we've fixed it. Now it's okay. So Iowans to keep putting the pressure on. This bill has to die with extreme prejudice as a message to the GOP. For our friends who are watching in Wyoming, session is already well over halfway done. We have a vote coming up in committee. I think it was actually this afternoon, late today. I have not heard the results of that vote on this tertiary bill, but the primary bill we've been working on this year on gun-free zone repeal is being held up and locked down by Speaker Harshman, the biggest piece of trash in the entire Capitol in Wyoming. Everybody knows this. Across the entire state, he's a son of a biscuit, and he is the one who is holding this bill back. I caught myself, Patrick. Don't give me that look. I caught myself, and it's a mess. It's a mess.
You gotta watch out.
What's that?
It's just gotta watch out for those Southern Baptists.
That's right. That's right.
Me?
But for the Wyomingites who are watching, we have killed off both of the gun control bills that the Republicans were pushing in Cheyenne, the 3-day waiting period, as well as mental health gun control under the guise of fix NICS. So that's a big accomplishment for the folks in Wyoming, which leaves me with New York. For all the New Yorkers who are watching, we have been very busy over the last 2 weeks here now, as they've been on spring break in Albany, or winter break, I guess it is, for this entire last week. And in the coming days, I believe we can now show you one of the primary things we've been working on for all this time, and that is the best stand your ground law, the best self-defense gun bill that has ever been introduced in this state. We have this bill. We have our 5th revision, came in this morning. It's done. It's perfect. It's beautiful. And it's going to piss off everybody in this entire state. Everybody who hates gun owners, everybody who hates the Second Amendment is going to hate this bill. We have a sponsor in the Assembly. We have a sponsor in the Senate chamber, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be a fantastic thing to begin to draw a line and figure out which Republicans in Albany support gun owners and which ones screw them over. Gun guys in New York State are ecstatic because the guys, for all you guys who are watching here, Greg and you guys, they have 2-year elections in New York for Senate seats as well, every 2 years. Nobody has a 4-year term. And so that right now, Cuomo's conference controls everything. And they have a big majority in both chambers. But there's 3 or 4 state senators who won in 2018 in seats that Trump carried in 2016.
Flip them.
And so we are very much looking forward on behalf of our New York friends to crushing careers later on this year in New York State. So a lot going on for our New Yorkers. Be watching your email inboxes for more information in the coming days.
So we're wrapping it up here. We've talked about a lot of different things tonight. I wanted to so we've been talking about this idea that the Democrats are killers. They're committed to their worldviews, their culture war against us as conservative, freedom-loving Americans, a lot of times Christian, a lot of times pro-life. We talked a little bit about Virginia and how it really encapsulates what the Democrats will do if we let Republicans cede power over to them. I see a Facebook post came in. My wife actually texted it to me just a few minutes ago. I wanted to read this to you. It really brings it all into focus for us. This is Senator Bill Stanley. He's a Virginia Republican senator, and he posted this about 2 hours ago. He said, "Tonight, just now on the Senate floor, I tried to amend the state budget to give the men and women of our sheriff's departments a 3% raise for this year. It was defeated with all of the Democrats voting no. When I went to get a vote count from the clerk, Majority Leader Dick Saslaw came up and said this to me. He said, 'Hey, Stanley, you want to know why your sheriffs didn't get the raise? It's because they came to our committees and said they weren't going to enforce our laws.' When I said, 'Which law are you talking about?' he said, 'Gun control.'" Gun control. Do you see? These people are coming after our very way of life. They want to destroy this country that we are fighting to protect. When they get to power, when we let Republicans give them the power, we're going to lose it all if we don't stand like a rock, if we don't stand our ground and fight back with absolutely everything that we have.
Yes.
I thought that did a really good job of bringing this all into focus here. We need to fight like rabid dogs. We need to fight for this country and for the state. And that's why we ask you to join all of the organizations you see that are broadcasting here today. There's probably links in the comment sections that are pinned. Please join with us in this fight. Don't let your state be Virginia'd. That's all I've got to say for tonight.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible to see how they're willing to use their power to totally just snuff out, opposition. Anybody who's not willing to go along with their crap. It's like you're gonna deny the funding for those police departments as punishment because they are refusing to enforce your unconstitutional laws. I mean, our founding fathers, if this crap was happening back then, the things our founding fathers would do to root out these tyrants.
Oh, yeah.
Man, if you're still sitting there going, you got to be nice. You got to talk to these people. If you're still that way, can't help you. Can't help.
We got the founding fathers' tar kettles would be empty right now.
Oh, yeah. A little tar and
it's
feather.
incredible. I'll just give a quick update on Minnesota. We've talked about it a bunch already. Like I said, the arrows are flying over here. The whole state's burning. The politicians are doing everything they can do to destroy not only our gun rights, but Minnesota gun rights and the work we are doing here. They're viciously attacking myself and my brothers and the work that we do in states all across America. And all the while, we're fighting to stop red flag gun seizures and universal gun registration from becoming law. Just last night, the House Ways and Means Committee passed universal background checks or universal gun registration and red flag gun seizures through the House Ways and Means Committee. And it's going on to the House floor before too long here for a full-blown vote. And those damn Republicans in this state are spending more time attacking Minnesota gun rights than they are radical leftist Democrats who are trying to pass this gun control. Does that make any sense to you? Does that make any sense to you? Well, we are going to fight like hell to stop this gun control from passing. We're going to do everything we can possibly do. We have a massive mobilization program running all across the state. Gun owners are rising up in droves of hundreds and thousands to oppose this gun control and to oppose these politicians who are trying to annihilate the organization that they're a part of and their freedom. And we're going to keep up that fight. More updates obviously coming tomorrow and in the days ahead. It's not going to be a pleasant thing for these politicians, what we are about to do to them. Very unpleasant.
Give it to them.
That's what I got.
That it?
Rip them.
Every one of the groups you're seeing here, guys, has a join link. Every one of these groups has a website you can go to. We all have informational email updates you can sign up for. I'm not going to there's 40 different websites we can list off to help you guys get there, but just go to our sites and get signed up. Become a member if you want to. Sign up for emails. Either way, get involved in this fight. It's just going on nonstop all around you all the time, and a lot of times you might not see it. Because a lot of times what happens in politics is the last couple of days, it's public, but it's the committee work. It's all the behind the scenes crap. That's where the real blood is spilled. And that's where the real fighting takes place. So we'll keep you informed.
That's where we are
getting our information.
the blood.
If you're not getting our emails, you're out in the cold. We do videos as often as we can, but if you're not getting the emails, you're just out in the dark. So sign up for the emails, get involved, become a member. It's $35, I think, for each one of these groups. You're talking about less than 10 cents a day. Hell, join all of them if you want to. Get involved in this fight, guys. That's all I've got time for tonight. That's what I got. So,
good stuff, guys.
Go for it.
What do we got? Georgia, Idaho, Ohio, Minnesota, New York, or Iowa, New York, and everybody else.
Pennsylvania.
So we shall be back probably in the next week for the big show presented by the American Firearms Coalition, guys. Had a lot of fun. We had a little competition with President Trump tonight, is what it is, but we still had a great crowd. I think last week's show, Aaron, have you checked the latest number? Was it 110?
Yeah, it's over 110,000.
110,000 people watched the show last week, folks. The week before, it was probably 100.
92,000.
92,000. This week, we had a little competition from the president. So keep tuning in. Join
How
up.
How dare he?
Yeah,
Doesn't he know we're talking?
Exactly.
What is he doing?
Join up with the American Firearms Coalition. Join AFC.org. Bunch of y'all hopping on board tonight. All over the country, where we are East Coast to West Coast for the most part, folks, into the Mountain West as well. So tell your friends, tell your family, get them involved in the fight. Bring that brass knuckle politics to your state house, to your congressmen, to your senators, and your legislators as well, guys. So my name is Patrick Parsons, signing off. Everybody else here, Aaron, Chris, Ben, Greg. We shall see y'all probably in the next week. Tune in to our respective state-level live shows as well. We'll be live tomorrow all across the country fighting the Second Amendment fight the right way, not the kiss butt way, the kick butt way, guys. So have a great night, and we will see y'all soon. Talk to you later.
Good night,
guys.
everybody.
Take care, folks.
Take care.